Welcome to part 4 of my presentation on the Humble Project Management Toolkit for better results in an uncertain world, in which I talk about complexity, a phenomenon that combines with cognitive biases to ensure that multi-stakeholder international development projects operate in environments of high uncertainty. Complexity is a property of systems composed of multiple interacting subunits, which combine to produce a whole that is not simply the sum of the parts. Complexity is everywhere, both in nature and in man-made systems, yet commonly used project management tools like the so-called logical framework matrix or log-frame implicitly assume that real-world phenomena such as disease management, conflict resolution and climate change follow consistently predictable cause and effect patterns. Complexity can be illustrated by the fish soup development story, a tale I learnt from evaluation guru Ricardo Wilson-Grau. Like all good fairy stories, it starts like this. Once upon a time, Lily, Millie and Billy's parents discovered their grandmother's long-lost recipe for fish soup. The old dusty recipe book listed all the ingredients and exactly how they should be cooked. Mum and Dad did not have much expertise, but they did have some cooking experience. The family gathered around the table and everyone agreed that the fish soup was the most delicious and nutritious soup in the whole wide world. The family ate fish soup once a week for the rest of their lives, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. Using the language of project management, the fish soup development story can be conceived of as a results chain or logical series of cause and effect from inputs to impact. In terms of inputs or resources, the parents get together fish, fresh vegetables, water, barley, spices, a pot, and source of heat. In terms of activities, mother or father carefully prepare and cook all the ingredients. The output is that the children are given the most nourishing fish soup in the world. The outcome is that the children consider the soup delicious and eat fish soup once a week for the rest of their lives. And the impact is that the children are healthy adults. If only life were so simple. In the real world, the results are likely to be much less certain. Grandmother's recipe is lost. The recommended fish is not available in the markets every week of the year. The family's buying power varies from year to year. Children are different and change as they grow. Lily becomes a vegetarian, Millie goes on a diet, and Billy is simply rebellious. Outside factors and actors influence the children, school, TV, friends and so forth. And fish soup alone once a week is not sufficient for good health. Now that we have embedded the fish soup development story in the real world, we can revisit the results chain. Inputs, activities and outputs are substantially under the parents' control. Parents can influence outcomes. When it comes to impacts, parents worry. In such a complex situation, the relationship of cause and effect cannot be known with certainty until the outcomes emerge. To produce a nutritious soup that their children will eat once a week for the rest of their lives, the recipe is less important than the parents' relationship with each son and daughter, and theirs with the social environment. More than cooking experience, parents must rely on their sensitivity and creativity, and they must accept uncertainty about their results. And to reiterate, the reality of multi-stakeholder cross-cutting projects is substantially complex. The relationships of cause and effect cannot be known with certainty until the outcomes emerge. So this neat stepwise results chain becomes much more messy in the real world. Inputs become available before the plan is produced. The plan is brought forward. Actually, it's usually the reverse, but never mind. There are multiple activities, some of which go according to plan, and others which do not. Some outputs and outcomes are the result of the project, others are not, while some are the result of project and project non-project activities. Some outcomes support the project's vision, while others do not. So what can you do to manage projects in a world in which cognitive biases and complexity are the norm? You could scream, and I've done so on many occasions, but a more constructive response would be to use the Humble Project Management Toolkit for better results in an uncertain world. In the next part, I introduce the compartments of this toolkit, starting with ways in which we can hesitate to encourage reflection. See you soon.